Hey, good day to you. This is Todd. I am a regular dude walking in the Word. We are in Exodus now, and we are starting chapter 37 today. We'll go through chapter 37 in 3 episodes. The first one today is called God Describes Himself. Now, this is an unusual passage where it comes to a point where here God actually describes Himself. Most of the description you have in the Bible for God is taken about what other people have written about God, not God describing Himself necessarily. There's different times Jesus describes Himself, saying, what He's like and the characteristics and stuff. But here, God describes Himself, so we want to look at that pretty close here today. And this is Exodus 34, verses 1 through 7. Okay? And so let's read that. If you got your spectacles, you can put those on. It said, "The Lord said to Moses, 'Chisel out 2 stone tablets like the first ones, and I will write on them the words that were written on the first tablets, which you broke.'" Okay, you're like thinking, well, what in the world is he talking about? He broke some tablets. Well, if you remember, God inscribed the first 10 commandments on the tablets of stone. Moses was coming down from the mountain and saw the whole golden calf incident, and you can go back to other episodes to further discuss that. And when he saw that, he was so mad he threw down those tablets. He was pretty high, I'm sure, and threw down those tablets, and they broke into pieces. Okay, so we need new tablets, and so he's going back up to the mountain here to get those tablets. Verse 2, "Be ready in the morning, and then come up to the mountain, up to Mount Sinai. Present yourself to me there on top of the mountain. No one is to come with you or be seen anywhere on the mountain. Not even the flocks, the herds may graze in front of the mountain." Okay? And it was like the herds weren't even supposed to be near the mountain. You kind of were supposed to have it fenced off. And if someone got close to it, an animal got close to it, like a stray dog or sheep or whatever, you're supposed to just shoot the sheep, not go out and chase it down, but just shoot it. So Moses chiseled out 2 stone tablets like the first ones and went up to Mount Sinai early in the morning as the Lord had commanded him. And he carried the two stone tablets in his hands. Then the Lord came down in the cloud and stood there with him and proclaimed his name, the Lord. And he passed in front of Moses proclaiming. Now get this. God is proclaiming this. And he proclaimed, the Lord, compassionate and gracious God, slow to anger, abounding in love and faithfulness, maintaining love to thousands, and forgiving wickedness and rebellion and sin. Yet he does not leave the guilty unpunished. He punishes the children and their children for the sins of their parents to the 3rd and the 4th generation. Okay? So let's look at that a little closer here. If God's describing himself, I want to know how he's describing himself here. It says, there, the Lord, compassionate and gracious God. Okay? Compassionate and gracious God. We know our God is compassionate and gracious because he's forgiven my sins and out of his compassion and out of his grace. Okay? And then it says slow to anger. Okay? That's evident right here when we're going through Exodus. He is slow to anger with all the sin that was happening. And the Israelites, kept sinning, falling away from God, and God would, they would come back to God. But the anger is slow. The anger is slow in my life. I'm full of sin, but he doesn't just destroy me right away. He's a God of grace there. So slow to anger, abounding in love and faithfulness. Okay, so this plays out even in Jesus's life, abounding in love. Okay, he died on the cross for us. That was out of love. All right. And then maintaining love to thousands and forgiving wickedness, rebellion, and sin. Okay, so this is evident here as just even the not the Mount Sinai incident, the golden calf incident. You know how he has forgiven and he's like moving on. He's making this covenant with the people who just made this stupid idol. Okay, so a huge reflection on God for him to do that. But you get this now. Now we're kind of flipping. This is the positive, and here's kind of the negative. Yet he does not leave the guilty unpunished. Okay, so God's a God of grace, but the guilty will be punished. Okay, and it says he will not leave the guilty unpunished. He punishes children and their children for the sin of their parents to the third and the fourth generation. Okay, now, because of this verse, we've had some strange theological ideas that, for example, that you go to a church and they want to pray over this generational curse that's been put on you. And you're like, what generational curse did I have? And so you got to dig right in your mind to find out what generational curse is upon me. And sometimes we get these weird generational curses that we didn't know we had, and it really is not affecting us. However, there is things that will affect you generationally, okay? So, and this is really, sin has consequences. And the point here is the consequences can go on for many generations. So, if you, let's say you are in an adulterous relationship, well, that sin has consequences because those consequences are going to affect not just your marriage to your wife, but it affects, the broken marriage, and then the children that come from that for generations and generations. Okay? And today, you see alcohol and drugs is an issue that happens through generations. It's hard to break that generational curse. It's a generational curse there. When your grandparents were so involved in alcohol and drugs, and then your parents were so involved in that, and for you to break free of that, that's really hard. Only God can do that. And that's a lot of times you'll see when you go to court. And you'll see, someone convicted for a drug offense or a problem with alcohol. It didn't just start with them. It was like their parents were like that, their grandparents were like that, and they are trying to break free of that. And so that's an example of that. So there's sin that you can be involved in that you think, oh, it's just going to affect me. Oh no, it's going to affect your children and their children and so forth. And so that's what it's talking about here. That sin can affect you. But I want to end with how our God is forgiving. He's slow to anger and everything that he said there in the way he described himself. So just a warning to you. Don't be involved in those sins, and the sin can affect you for generations and generations. And then, but God is a God of grace. All right, thanks for watching. I'm a regular dude walking in the Word. And I look forward to seeing you tomorrow as we continue looking at Exodus 34. Lord's blessing, I'll see you then.